Integration space is the powerhouse. I can fill in a form, I can do all the front end goodness, but what happens with that? Where does that go? How do I make sure that everyone else's ability to work is enhanced? And that's really where integration came through.
Action.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for joining us. Glad that you could make it with us today. It's a special episode of Integration Love Story. We are doing the fast ones here in Integrate.
Yeah, and it's lovely to meet all the people here. Like you said, day 2. It's been a very interesting day 1, but now we're in day 2. So glad you could join us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are newly awarded as MVP. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
And
Likewise.
also, yeah, thank you. And you are also awarded lately, mentioned as Logic App Ace Aviator. That's a lot of achievements in a really short time.
It absolutely.
How does it feel?
Deeply honoured. Deeply honoured. It's I wasn't expecting it all to land at the times that it did, so just very convenient. But no, it's just very deeply honoured, very chuffed. It's nice to be part of the community and see all the developments that are coming through, and especially being able to integrate and seeing how that's progressing further. It's an amazing community to be a part of.
Yep, that's cool. But let the audience know a little bit about yourself. So if you can shortly introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Well, my base came from just being enthused by technology from the get-go. It actually came from my father at that point. He did a training course and he used to develop these programs in Microsoft Excel. Okay. And so basically the spreadsheets would be the database. And then he would use VBA behind the scenes to create these VBA applications that would just pop up when you loaded Excel up, and to me that was just magic. It's like at one point I'm just looking at little boxes and now I'm seeing applications and data literally moving behind the scenes, and so I mean at that point I didn't really understand. I think I was only about 10 at the time. So for me it was just dragging boxes and drop down boxes and doing nothing, but it all sort of sparked from that moment of seeing magic, as it were.
Can I just, I remember when I joined Contica like 6 years ago or something, we had a project with a customer who had BizTalk, and we were going trying to move them to Azure and trying to build that project in Azure to show them, but that, the guy on the customer side, he was actually talking about, but can't we do this in Excel and VBA? And I was like, I know, I remember that we have Azure here, and it was 6 years ago, of course, but why do it in Excel and VBA? Can you just what was his thoughts since you've seen it so close?
Yeah, well, I have a soft spot for it. I know the reasons why you shouldn't.
Okay.
But I have a very good soft spot for it. You're so close to the data, and you can manipulate the data right there and then, and you can provide this application that's so close to it. So I see the point, but then macro enabled worksheets and security and it's just you moving from the prospects of, well, this is really where it spanned from, for me at least, was it started there and then it went, well, how does that distribute? And that's the core problem, right?
Yeah.
Fine, yes, you could do it in an Excel sheet. You could. But then your neighbor next door to you, who literally could be in the seat next door to you, how do they use it? And then further from that point onwards. So then it was, well, what happens if I take that database and I make that an access database? And that then became my A-level project, because why not?
I never heard anyone speaking with this passion about Excel. That's my first, and it's amazing actually.
Yeah, as I said, this is my second time, so it's really interesting. 6 years ago, and now so yeah. But just small, Andrew. You're a tech enthusiast, as we hear. But if you were to introduce yourself to someone on a pub, not speaking about tech, who is Andrew?
I'd like to introduce myself as a family man. It's always been family. So I've got a wife and 2 kids. One's 2. I've recently had a little one, 4 months at this point. But it's very much treating them, making sure that they're happy. And if it's not that, it's a good game of golf.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. But I have a question about actually the Logic Aviator award or mention, Ace Aviator. Um, why do you like Logic apps as a technology?
I think for me, and it actually comes back before Logic Apps, it was I loved the idea of how do I make systems talk to each other.
Yeah.
You know, for me, the integration space is the powerhouse. I can fill in a form, I can do all the front end goodness, but what happens with that? Where does that go? How do I make sure that everyone else's ability to work is enhanced? And that's really where integration came through. And I started out with BizTalk in that particular regard, and then it became Logic Apps. And where Logic Apps for me became really powerful was all those connectors. And it was that ability to go, you know what, I can use my BizTalk integration knowledge of how orchestrations flow. I've got that idea of I've got input, I spit that out somewhere else, and I can orchestrate all of these really lovely abilities. But it was that those abilities were baked in. Actions that I could tangibly hold, and you can build upon that, which brilliant, again, the community aspect, but it was the fact that no other technology was offering, and still to that degree offers that kind of enhanced capability.
So I mean, we were at Integrate, as we said. I mean, second day. But what has been one thing that you will take away from this Integrate? I know.
That's tough.
Two.
Thank you.
That's not one, two. Let's make it harder.
So the two things for me is Logic Apps Agent Loop. That's
a good choice.
It's a new paradigm. Honestly, it's a new way of doing integrations. Full stop. Just to be in a place where you can do something that's non-deterministic. As reminiscing on some of the deterministic flows that I've been putting in place, and just some of the decision making that it does, and trying to think how I would do that in a deterministic manner, it just doesn't compare. That one line of just don't do this would have been how many ifs, and compiling that orchestration. And obviously it has its place, but yes, that's number one. And then the second one is code for workflows. Again, I've seen.
Changer.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen dictionaries created in Logic Apps that took 3 minutes to stand up and then retrieve, just because it was done in a pragmatic manner, but incorrectly, right? Because you can. We changed it over, got it down to 20th of a second, but it was just that the understanding of how we're taking programming practices and not having to re-implement that. I think that was yeah.
But you said that you have like friends or like family outside. You are a family man and you are friends. So, and I can see clearly that you have a special place in your heart for integration. We will go in later into like your integration love story, but like what I want to hear from you now, like you work also, like you are a senior integrator in Black Marble, and that's something that you became senior, and part of that is actually to lift other with you. How we know that you cannot just go and get education for integrators. You cannot be that out of just school. So how would you? What your first advice is for those who just started now, and what they should focus on? What helped you the most to become what you are now?
Yeah, I think for me it was stay curious. The days of it's already been done. Why would you? You have to stay curious. We just watched Matthew Stevens do a card game.
Yeah.
Why? You could ask that question why, but why not? That was your ability to go. I'm going to go and tinker with, right? We've just heard some amazing announcements. So why not do something silly to learn?
Yeah.
Right, and that for me is where it all stems from. You don't need to wait for the next project. You don't need to wait for the next thing to come along to learn. Find something.
Yeah.
It could be silly. You might have people ask you why. What's the point? I mean, that's how I got to learning programming. Recreate a calculator. There's many out there. Why? I had fun.
It's a great advice. It's really, thank you for that. I myself appreciate it.
Yeah.
We all need this reminder. So we have our round up with our last.
We round up with the question we always ask, but also let's say that we look forward to a longer episode later in the year. So this podcast is called Integration Love Story. So can you tell us about some kind of story you have where you fell in love with integration, or in this space?
I think for me, it's a niche one because everyone hates it. Well, no, not everyone hates it. Well, it's niche. It's BizTalk. So for me, my first real sort of understanding of the capabilities of integration and that sort of the fundamentals of integration were founded from BizTalk. And I got that from Black Marble. I think at the time I was an intern there, and we had this really interesting project. And same thing. We got myriad of distributed solutions, and we need to be able to integrate them together. And now you're talking a whole bunch of flat file, and you got some APIs and bits and pieces going on there. And it was that understanding of how it all orchestrates together, and taking that curiosity of what's the power. How do I do it? And it just sort of instilled it to me. When you see the painting sort of appear on the wall, it's like, that makes sense. I love it. So it's, there are times you hate it, but I still love it.
I guess you need to have that relationship to any space. I guess you need to both hate it, but mostly love it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Andrew, for joining us today, and thank you for giving us this time. And we'll talk to you again longer and more, because I'm really curious about your opinion about too many things. And unfortunately, we don't have time now, but talk to you later. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.